So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Studify Success. We are back with the second part of chemical reactions and equations. In the first part, we have covered balancing, and now, here in the second part, we are going to cover the five types of reactions. So, let us get started. For all the notes, you can visit our website, which is studifysuccess.com, and the notes of this chapter is available in the description section as well. So, let's get started with the second part of the chapter. So now that we have understood balancing, let's move ahead and see the various types of chemical reactions. So we have five types of chemical reactions which are listed here. The first reaction we have is a combination reaction. The name itself suggests that it is a combination of two reactants. So two or more substances, which we call reactants, combine to form a new substance. So that is combination reaction. Two reactants or more reactants combine to form a new substance. Decomposition reaction is exactly the opposite of combination reaction. Decomposition reaction comes from the word decompose. You can understand it from that. So in combination reaction, there was a formation of a new substance by two reactants. Here, a compound degrades or decomposes into two or more substances. So, it is opposite to the combination reaction, and a single substance decomposes to give two or more substances. This is a decomposition reaction. Third is the displacement reaction. Displacement reaction can also be understood from the name itself. In chemistry, we have most of the things in the name itself. So just pay attention to the names. So in displacement reaction, we have one element which displaces. Displaces means it substitutes. It removes another element from its solution and substitutes it. So we have one element which removes another element from its solution form and displaces its position. So this is what happens in displacement reaction. We will study each of these reactions with examples in the upcoming slides. So next we have the double displacement reaction. So displacement reaction, one element was substituting the other element from its solution. In double displacement reaction, two different atoms or two different groups, they are exchanging. So one element is going to the other solution and that other solution's element is coming to the first solution. So this is happening in double displacement. Oxidation and reduction involves electrons. We know electrons are subatomic particles with negative charges. So loss or gain of electrons, for now we can understand it by loss or gain of hydrogen atoms. So if there is a loss or gain, according to that we name those processes as oxidation and reduction. We will study all these five reactions in detail and we'll come back to this slide again at the end of these five reactions. So this was a summary of the type of chemical reaction. So let us start with the combination reaction, which is our first type of reaction. Combination reaction, as the name suggests, it is a reaction in which two or more reactants, so we have more than two types of reactants which fuse to form or which combine to form a single product. So for example, here we have one reactant, here we have another reactant, and both of these combine to form one single product. So such reactions are called combination reactions. So here we have some examples of combination reactions. Calcium oxide and water combine to form a single product called calcium hydroxide. You can see here, this is calcium oxide, which is often called quicklime. It reacts with water to form slaked lime, which is calcium hydroxide. So here we can see one reactant with another reactant react and combine to form one single product. Such reactions are called combination reactions. Now this reaction is a very common reaction and it is used for whitewashing. This slaked lime is used for whitewashing. Now we have some more examples of combination reaction. One is burning of coal. So what is coal? Coal is essentially made up of carbon. So here we have carbon, which is in solid form and it is in coal. It reacts with oxygen because burning is always occurring in the presence of oxygen. So burning of coal gives us carbon dioxide, which is a gas. Now here you can see in the brackets solid, gas, all the states of the compounds are mentioned. This is how you represent a balanced equation. We have another equation which shows an example of combination reaction, which is formation of water. So we can see two molecules of hydrogen when react with oxygen form a single product, which is water. So this is one reactant, this is another reactant. Two or more reactants which are combining to form one single product is called a combination reaction. We also observe that a large amount of heat is evolved in the reaction of quicklime. In this reaction, a large amount of heat was produced. So such reactions in which heat is produced or heat is evolved are called exothermic reactions. So what are exothermic reactions? Reactions in which heat is released, produced, evolved, these all are synonyms. So heat is released along with the formation of products is called an exothermic reaction. There are two types of reactions, exothermic and endothermic. And so endothermic reactions are those reactions which require heat. So reactions for which we need to supply some heat so that the reaction can occur are endothermic, heat or any other form of energy. Exothermic reactions, on the other hand, are the reactions in which the heat is released. You can remember it from exo and you can link it with exit. So the heat is exiting the reaction. Okay, so in this way you can remember what is an exothermic reaction. Heat is produced or released from the reaction. One example is burning of natural gas, another reaction is respiration. So here we have glucose. What is respiration? Respiration is the process in which glucose is broken down with the help of oxygen and it gives us carbon dioxide and energy. So respiration is when we breathe in this oxygen has came from the breathing mechanism. When we breathe in, this oxygen comes into our lungs. This oxygen breaks this glucose to form carbon dioxide, water and energy. This energy we use for various life processes. This carbon dioxide is released outside the body by the breathing mechanism again. So this is also a reaction in which exothermic reaction is seen, which is release of heat is seen. The next type of reaction is the decomposition reaction. It is completely the opposite of combination reaction, which we have seen earlier. Again, have a look at the name. Decomposition means the decomposition of something. For example, when we make manure, leaves decompose to form manure. So decomposition reaction is when a single substance is there, a single reactant is there, it decomposes or breaks down into two or more substances. When combination reaction was occurring, we had two or more reactants giving us a single substance or a single product. Here we have a single reactant giving us two or more products. So this is what decomposition reaction is. Again, we have the example of quicklime, but here we have limestone. There we had calcium hydroxide, which is slaked lime. Here we have limestone. So this limestone, when given some heat, it forms calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So here you can see we have one reactant. This one reactant is breaking down into two products. Such reactions are called decomposition reactions, where breakdown of a certain substance occurs. Breakdown or decomposition of a substance occurs. Here we have one more example. We have ferrous sulfate. So ferrous sulfate solid we are giving it some heat. We are supplying it some heat and we are getting ferric oxide and some gases. This is a sulfide gas. These are the gases we are obtaining. This reaction is also a decomposition reaction. Now one thing which you people must be watching, that heat is supplied here as well as here. Why is this heat supplied? This heat is supplied to initiate the reaction. This heat is being supplied to initiate the reaction so that the reaction can start occurring and this decomposition can occur. So when decomposition reaction is carried out by heating, it is called a thermal decomposition. Now, decomposition reaction requires various agents. Various agents like electricity, sunlight, and heat. We have three agents which the decomposition reaction requires. To initiate the reaction, we need various agents. So, we have electricity, sunlight, and heat. When decomposition reaction is occurring by heat, it is called thermal decomposition. When it is occurring by electricity, it is called electrolysis. Lysis means breakdown and electro means electricity. Electrolysis. And when we use sunlight, it is called photolytic or photolysis. Okay. So these are the three agents and the three ways in which decomposition reaction occurs. Now we have this example of photolytic decomposition or photolysis, which is the breakdown of a substance using sunlight. So let us see now photolytic decomposition. Here are two examples of photolytic decomposition. What is photolytic decomposition? Decomposition using sunlight. So here we have silver chloride and silver bromide. When the silver chloride and silver bromide are supplied with sunlight, they decompose and break down into silver and chloride, and here silver and bromide. So breakdown or decomposition of this compound occurs. This phenomena is used in black white photography. So the black and white photography which used to happen earlier, this phenomena was used there. This silver is accumulated. This is why you must have often seen that silver bottles, the bottles which have silver chloride and silver bromide, are often covered with black or brown paper, because if they are supplied with sunlight, they break down into silver and chloride or bromide. So that is why they are kept in dark and they are kept covered. So this is an example of photolytic or photolysis. Moving ahead to electrolysis. Electrolysis is the decomposition using electricity. Lysis means breakdown or decomposition. Electro means electricity. So lysis of something using electricity. Here we have a very classic example of electrolysis, which is electrolysis of water. Here you can see we have two electrodes. You have studied about electrodes in your classes. So we have two electrodes, anode and cathode. So anode is the one which has positive charge. It is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Cathode is the one which has negative charge, as it is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So the one which has positive terminals, now we know in H2O we have H plus molecules. You can see here we have H plus molecules and we have O2 negative molecules. So O2 negative molecule is a negatively charged ion. This negatively charged ion will be attracted towards this positive electrode. This will move towards this positive electrode. Whereas this positively charged ion will move towards this negative electrode. Why? Because opposite charges attract. We know this, that opposite charges attract. So H positive, which is a positively charged ion, will move towards the negatively charged cathode, and O2 negative, which is a negatively charged ion, will move towards the positively charged electrode, which is the anode. So at the anode we see oxygen bubbles and at the cathode we see hydrogen bubbles. So this is what is observed in the electrolysis of water. At last we see water which has two molecules of hydrogen gas and oxygen gas evolving from. So a very famous question that can be asked is that why is the quantity of hydrogen gas liberating from electrolysis, it is double than that of oxygen. So whatever oxygen is liberating here, hydrogen gas is double of it. Why is this? Because when we see this is what, when we see this balanced equation, so we have this balanced equation, and when we see this, we on balancing, we can see that we have two molecules of hydrogen here and only one molecule of oxygen here. So on balancing, this gives us the answer that double the hydrogen gas is produced, but only 1 mole or 1 molecule of oxygen gas is produced. So this can be determined by balancing of the equation. So decomposition reaction requires energy either in the form of heat, light or electricity. We know these are the various agents. Reaction in which energy is absorbed are known as endothermic reactions. So this I have already told you that these are endothermic reactions. So combination reactions are mostly exothermic because energy is released from them, and decomposition reactions are endothermic reactions because we supply them energy either by heat or by light or by electricity, and we have seen the examples of all these three. The next type of reaction which we have is the displacement reaction. The third type of reaction which we have is the displacement reaction. Displacement reaction, again from the name itself we can find out that something is being displaced. Displaced means something is being moved. Okay, so let us see this figure. So here we have this test tube. In the test tube we have a blue colored solution which is the copper sulfate solution. Okay, and in that copper sulfate solution we have iron nails. So now after some time when we observe, we see that that the color of this solution has changed and the color of the iron nails has also been changed. Let us see the equation. So we had iron which is in solid as in the form of nails. Then we have copper sulfate which is blue in color, aqueous solution. Aqueous means some solid is dissolved in water. So we have copper sulfate in aqueous solution. After the reaction occurs, we see that the solution is ferrous sulfate or iron sulfate we call it, and we have a layer of copper on the iron nails. We see that we have a layer of a layer of copper on the iron nails. So what is being happening here? Please closely observe this reaction. You can see that here we had iron and here we had copper. So iron has came from here to copper's position and copper has been removed from here, and now the new product formed is FeSO4 and copper is here. Once again I'll try to explain you this. So iron has moved from here and it has displaced copper from its position. Displaced means it has moved copper from its position. So what is being happened? There is a displacement reaction which is being occurred, that iron is displacing copper from the salt solution of copper which is copper sulfate. This is the salt solution of copper. Iron is coming and it is displacing this copper from its salt solution, and now iron is in the salt solution and copper is outside. So in this reaction iron has displaced or removed another element which is copper from copper sulfate solution. So such reactions in which one element displaces or removes another element from where? From its salt solution is called a displacement reaction. We have two more examples which is of zinc and lead. So here we have zinc reacting with copper sulfate forming zinc sulfate and copper. Again you can see zinc is displacing copper from its salt solution, and here lead is displacing copper from its salt solution and forming lead chloride. Zinc and lead are more reactive elements than copper, so they displace copper from its compounds. So now let us pay attention to this last line. Zinc and chloride are more reactive elements than copper. What does this mean? So every element, how reactive it is determined by a reactivity series. So all the elements are arranged in a series or in an order that this element is more reactive, this element is not so reactive, and that series is called the reactivity series. So by that series we know that zinc and lead are more reactive than this copper. So one thing which we have to keep in mind while doing displacement reactions is that only the more reactive metal has the power, has the ability to displace another element from its copper solution. So the element displacing this element, the element with the one which is displacing another element should be more powerful than this element present already in the salt solution. If this is a weaker element, then this weaker element cannot displace a powerful element from its salt solution. Of course, you can think about it. So a powerful solution, a more reactive element, can displace a weaker element, a weakly reactive element from its salt solution. This is what is important. I have the reactivity series. So this is the reactivity series. You can remember it. Right now it may not be required, but you should know this. This is the reactivity series. Put most reactive to the least reactive. So potassium is the most reactive element in our periodic table, and gold is the least reactive element. So potassium is the most reactive, gold is the least reactive. This means that potassium can displace any other element. If any other element is present in its salt solution, potassium can displace it. Okay, then we had sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, which is the midpoint, copper, mercury, silver, and gold. Now, this is a mnemonic or a rhyme which can be used to remember this reactivity series. It is something like Kashi Nath Ka Mali. This Ka, Ka or Ka you can understand. का माली आलू ज़रा फीके से पकाता है क्योंकि होंगे आगे और. So this is a rhyme or a mnemonic which can be used to remember this reactivity series. So the first element, which is potassium, is the most reactive element, and it moves in a decreasing order, and the last element is the least reactive element. This is all you need to remember. Now we have the last two reactions, which are the double displacement reaction and the oxidation and reduction reaction. So double displacement reaction, again from the name we can find out that displacement is occurring, but here double displacement is occurring. So let us look at this equation. You can see we have sodium sulfate and barium chloride, and let us look at the products as well. We have barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Now here what we can observe is there is an exchange of ions. Here we had sodium and barium. Now let us see. Now this sodium has came with chloride and the barium has came with sulfate. So there is an exchange of ions occurring because both of the solutions are now salt solutions. In displacement reaction we have one pure element and the other is a salt solution. But here both are salt solutions. So both of these salt solutions, both the elements, both the ions will displace each other. So here we get barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Any reaction that produces a precipitate can be called a precipitate. So here we obtain precipitate of barium sulfate. What is precipitate? Precipitate is an insoluble substance which settles down at the bottom. So if I have a test tube here, so if anything settles down here, it is called a precipitate. So such reactions in which a precipitate is obtained are called precipitation reactions. In this reaction as well, we obtain a precipitate of barium sulfate, a white precipitate. So reactions in which there is an exchange of ions, you can see sodium is coming with chloride and barium is coming with sulfate. Between the reactants are called double displacement reaction. This one is similar to displacement reaction. Now we have oxidation and reduction reactions. So as we move ahead in further classes, we'll study more detail about oxidation and reduction. But for now, there is only two things which need to be remembered. If any substance, if any element, any compound gains oxygen, oxygen is added to any element or any compound, it is said to be oxidized. So such reaction is oxidation. And the reverse, if any substance loses oxygen, it is said to be reduced, or it is said that reduction has occurred. So oxidation is addition of oxygen, reduction is removal or loss of oxygen. So this is what oxidation and reduction. So now we know what oxidation and reduction is. Moving on to what is oxidation reduction here, what is being referred, and what is redox reaction. So when oxidation and reduction both occur simultaneously, what do we mean by simultaneously? Both occur one. See, now let us see this example. So we have copper oxide, it reacts with hydrogen gas on in the presence of heat, and we get copper and water. Now let us look at what is happening to individual compounds. So this copper oxide is changing into copper. So what is happening here? One oxygen was there, now there is no oxygen. So this means reduction is there, that is loss of oxygen is occurring. Here on the other hand, we have hydrogen. This hydrogen is changing to water. And what is happening? Addition of oxygen is happening, which means oxidation is happening. So here in this one single equation, we can see both oxidation and reduction happening together. So when oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously, which means they take place together in one reaction, that is one reactant is oxidized and on the same hand other is reduced. Such reactions are called redox reactions or oxidation reduction reactions. Here are some more examples of oxidation and reduction reactions. We can see we have zinc oxide here. When we trace what's happening to zinc oxide is losing one oxygen and changing to zinc, which means reduction is happening. And if we have a look at copper, so carbons, this carbon is changing into carbon monoxide, which means there is addition of oxygen, which means this is oxidation. Oxidation and reduction both are occurring simultaneously in the same reaction. So this reaction is an example of redox reaction. Once again, let us see another example. We have magnesium oxide. So this magnesium oxide, let's trace it. So this is changing into magnesium or manganese chloride. This is manganese oxide and manganese chloride. So here is removal of oxygen, which means this is reduction. Let's look at HCl. This HCl is changing into H2O, which means addition of oxygen is there, which means this is oxidation. Reduction and oxidation both are occurring in the same equation, in the same reaction. This is why this is called an oxidation reduction or a redox reaction. Now, as we have discussed all the 5 types of chemical reactions, you will be able to understand this chart even more. Let's go through it once again. So combination reaction, revising all this, is a reaction in which 2 or more substances combine to form a single product. Decomposition reaction is opposite to this. Here a single substance decomposes into 2 or more substances. Displacement reaction is a reaction in which an element displaces another element from its compound or from its salt solution. Then we have double displacement, whereas there is exchange of ions. Then we have oxidation and reduction, where oxidation and reduction both occurs simultaneously. Oxidation is gain of oxygen and reduction is loss of oxygen. So these are the 5 types of chemical reaction. So this is the last topic which we have, is the effects of oxidation. Now we know what oxidation is. Oxidation is addition of oxygen to any compound is oxidation. Now we can see various effects of oxidation in daily life. There are various applications, there are various effects of oxidation. First is corrosion. So one example of corrosion is the rusting, which we often see. So this rusting, what happens in rusting? We have iron, and that iron reacts with the oxygen which is present in air. So that reaction produces a compound which is iron oxide, which is the rust. So what is corrosion? Rusting is an example of corrosion itself. So when a metal is attacked by substances such as moisture, acids, it is said to corrode or corrosion. So corrosion is a damaging phenomena. So here if we have a metal substance, various agents like moisture, acid react on it, and this metal degrades or corrodes, and this process is called corrosion. So rusting is a type of corrosion in which the metal we have is iron, and due to moisture and due to oxygen in the air, this iron degrades and corrodes into iron oxide. Corrosion causes damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships, and to all the objects made of metal, especially those of iron. And due to this, on an annual basis, we have to replace this damaged parts of iron from various sides, so that, because due to corrosion and due to rusting, the metal particle becomes weak. So now we need the support in bridges and iron railings, so we have to replace this. Next effect which we have is rancidity. So corrosion is when a metal is attacked by oxygen, moisture, and other things. Rancidity is when fats and oils are oxidized. They become rancid and they smell bad, and their taste also changes. So rancidity happens with food particles and with food substances. So various foods with fats and oils are oxidized. Due to the presence of oxygen, they are oxidized and they become rancid, which means their smell and taste changes. So in order to prevent these food particles from getting rancid, we have various techniques. So often at times antioxidants are added in various food substances and various other substances to avoid rancidity, so that oxidation cannot occur. To prevent oxidation, antioxidants are added to foods which have fats and oils. Then we have another method. We keep these food substances with fats and oils in airtight containers, so that we cannot completely prevent oxygen to enter, but less air enters, and oxidation, the rate of oxidation is slowed down. At least if we cannot prevent it, we can slow it down. So to slow it down, we use airtight containers. So corrosion and rancidity are the two effects of oxidation which we see in everyday life. So, this is all for this chapter as well, and now we are completely done with this chapter. For any notes, you can always visit our website, which is www.studifysuccess.com, and the notes and the PPT of this chapter are available to you in the description section. If you have not checked out the first part, you can always visit our channel and see the first part as well. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.